Adding polynomials. To add polynomials, just remove the parentheses and combine all like terms. So our first example, 3x minus 8 plus 4x squared minus 3x plus 3. So I'm just going to remove the parentheses for the first polynomial and remove the parentheses for the second polynomial. And then combine any like terms. So since polynomials are usually written in descending order, let's start with the highest degree, x squared. Do we have any other x squared terms? No. So that remains the same. Then let's go to the x term. 3x minus 3x. Well, if we add those together, that's no x's. So that term zeroes out additively. And finally, our constant term, negative 8 plus 3. Take the difference, and the bigger number is negative, so that's going to be 4x squared minus 5 when we add those polynomials together. Our second example, we've got 3 polynomials. So the first is just 2x and 3, and then we want to remove the parentheses, 7x squared minus 1. Now combine any like terms that we have. So let's start with the highest degree, x squared. No like terms, so remains the same. Then x, no like terms, remains the same. And our constant term, 3 plus negative 1, so that's a positive 2 altogether. To subtract polynomials, we're going to change the signs of the terms of the polynomial being subtracted, and then just combine like terms. So let's subtract. Okay. I'm going to change the sign of every term in the subtracted polynomial. It's like I'm distributing negative 1 to each of those terms. So that becomes a positive y and a positive 4. Now let me simplify by combining like terms. I'll start with the highest degree y, and then constant 4 plus 4 is 8. Our next example, we're going to just remove the parentheses from the first polynomial because it's like we're just distributing a positive 1, which doesn't change anything when we multiply by 1. But the second polynomial that's being subtracted, we need to distribute the subtraction. So that becomes a minus 2x and minus 3. Now we can simplify by combining like terms. Let's start with the highest degree, x squared, no like terms. X, we have 2 of those terms, so let's add the numbers in front. Negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4x's altogether. And the constant term, 3 minus 3. Well, that adds to 0, so there is no constant term here. Our next example was a little more difficult because it doesn't set up the problem for us. It's a word problem. We have to subtract 9x minus 3 from 2x plus 8. So since we're subtracting from, we start with that polynomial, and we're going to subtract this one from that one. Okay. Remember, from changes the order in translation. So now our first polynomial, we just need to remove the parentheses. But our second polynomial, we distribute the subtraction. So minus 9x and changes the sign plus 3. Then we can simplify by combining like terms. So x's, we have 2 minus 9, that's negative 7x's altogether. And the constant term, 8 plus 3, is 11. I think that the biggest mistake made when subtracting is to make sure you do distribute the subtraction to each term.